Have you ever felt like everything suddenly lost its meaning? You lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, overwhelmed by a hollow feeling so deep, you wonder how you'll even make it through tomorrow. You force a smile around others, but deep inside, something is silently screaming for help. And then comes the question, has God forgotten about me? If that thought ever crossed your mind, this message is for you. Because today I want to remind you, God has never stopped loving you. Even now, while you're thinking about giving up, He's writing the most beautiful chapter of your life. Have you ever felt like you've reached your limit? Like there's nothing left but this dark pit you've fallen into? Sometimes it feels like everything you built has completely fallen apart. The dreams that once made you smile now lie in ashes, and you ask yourself, how did I end up here? You look back and think, so much effort, so much sacrifice. And for what? It feels like everything inside you is gone. Hope, strength, even faith, and you start to believe this must be the end. But what if I told you it's not? What if this moment, where everything seems broken, is actually the beginning of something completely new? What if the ground that gave way is making room for something more solid? A stronger foundation where God is about to build something bigger than you ever imagined. Think about Lazarus. When Jesus arrived in the village, it looked like all hope was gone. Lazarus was dead. It had been several days. His body had started to smell. From a human point of view, there was no solution, but Jesus doesn't work within human limits. He specializes in restoring what the world has already buried. When everyone said it was too late, Jesus proved that with Him, it's never too late. He called Lazarus by name, and the dead man walked out, alive, whole. Maybe that's how you feel right now, like your time has passed. Like it's too late to fix the marriage, too late to dream again, too late to find joy or rebuild what's been broken. But search your heart and ask yourself, when did God ever promise a life without battles? Never. What He did promise was to walk with you through every storm. He said He would never leave you. So take a deep breath and think back. How many times did you feel like walking away? How many times did you cry in silence so no one would notice? How many nights did you think you couldn't go one more day? And yet you're still here. You know what that means. It means there's still strength inside you, even with pain, even with fear, even when tired. You didn't come this far by accident. There's purpose in your journey. And what if this very pain you're carrying now becomes your testimony tomorrow? What if the bottom of the pit is exactly where God plans to meet you in a way you've never experienced before? In the midst of chaos, some people encountered God's presence so deeply that it transformed them completely. Their pain turned into fuel, and their tears became strength for a new beginning. Do you know the story of J.K. Rowling? Before she wrote the Harry Potter series, she was a single mom, living in financial hardship, battling deep depression, and facing rejection from countless publishers. What if she had given up? What if she had believed that the darkness she was in was the final chapter of her life? But she didn't stop. She kept going. She persevered. And what looked like the end became the beginning of something incredible. Maybe right now you don't see it. Maybe everything around you is screaming that it's over. But what you're feeling isn't the end of your story. It's a pause before a rebirth. When God steps in, even what seemed dead begins to breathe again. Even the dreams you buried, believing they'd never come to life, can be called out again. They'll rise, breathe, and live. So even if you're tired, even if you feel empty, hold on, take a breath. This desert season will end. And when you look back, you'll realize that it was in that exact moment when God was carrying you in His arms. This is not the end. This is a fresh start. And this time God is fully in control. Have you ever felt like you're not enough? Not good enough? Holy enough? Smart enough? Strong enough? Have you looked in the mirror and thought, God can't use me like this. I mess up too much. I fail too often. Maybe you're carrying the heavy weight of guilt, thinking your time has passed. Maybe you think the doors are closed and all that's left is to survive. But let me tell you this truth. God isn't looking for perfection. He's looking for surrender. The Bible is full of people who, by human standards, should have never been chosen. Moses struggled to speak, but God told him, "I will be with you." Gideon saw himself as the weakest, yet God called him to lead. David was just a forgotten shepherd boy when he was anointed king. Rahab was a prostitute, but she became part of Jesus' lineage. Peter denied Jesus 3 times, yet he became a pillar of the church. How many times have you told yourself, "I'm not made for this"? How often have you hidden behind your failures, your flaws, your shame? Maybe you believe God only uses perfect people. That's not true. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies those he calls. Maybe today you feel shattered, like you've lost your identity, your strength, your courage. But God doesn't need you to be whole. He just needs your yes. The pieces you think are broken beyond repair, He uses them to heal others. Your scars become testimonies. Your weakness becomes strength. Your pain becomes purpose. These days, so many people spend their time comparing themselves on social media. They look at someone else's life and think, "I'll never be like that." But what you see in photos doesn't reveal the hidden tears, the silent battles, or the sleepless nights. And in doing that, you forget something crucial. Your journey, your struggles, your truth all carry deep worth in God's eyes. There's a woman named Christine Caine. She was adopted, endured childhood abuse, and for years didn't know who she truly was. But one day, she stopped hiding and surrendered her pain to God. Today, she travels the world spreading the gospel, rescuing people from human trafficking and helping others reclaim their identity. Not because she was flawless, but because she made herself available. The same God who once called imperfect people is still calling today. And right now, He is calling you. It doesn't matter what others have said about you. It doesn't matter if you stutter, fear speaking in public, or feel ashamed of your past. God doesn't stop at your limitations. He looks straight into your heart. And if even a tiny spark of faith remains in there, He will ignite it into a mighty flame. You might be working a normal job and think there's no purpose in it, but God uses you right where you are. Through your kindness, your honesty, your endurance, God is moving. You can be a student, a parent, a retiree. God doesn't measure by age, education, or social status. All He wants is a heart that says, "Here I am." Never underestimate what He can do through a surrendered heart. Your life doesn't have to be perfect for God to begin. His grace is not based on your performance, only on His love. If today you feel too small, remember He fed thousands with 5 loaves and 2 fish. If you feel weak, know that His strength is made perfect in weakness. If you feel invisible, He sees you and He chose you. Yes, you. There are times when God's silence hurts deeply. It can feel worse than a clear no. You pray, you pour your heart out, you cry at His feet, and still, nothing happens. No answer, just silence. A silence so loud it echoes through your soul and shakes your faith. Then the doubt creeps in. Has God forgotten me? How many times have you tried to get His attention and felt like nothing changed? You see others moving forward, succeeding, growing, while you feel stuck in a season that won't end. And the hardest part, there's no explanation, just silence. But God's silence is not rejection. It's part of His refining process. That quiet space is where He shapes hearts, deepens roots, and lays foundations strong enough to carry your calling. The great men and women of the Bible were formed in the silence. God carved out character, built trust, and prepared them for something only maturity could hold. His silence is never empty. It's always filled with purpose. Even Jesus felt it. In Gethsemane, just before the cross, He knelt down in anguish and prayed, "If it's possible, let this cup pass from me." And heaven stayed silent. Still, He chose to trust, obey, and remain. That's what God wants from you too, to stay. Keep believing even when you cannot see anything yet, because that is when faith becomes real. Trusting is easy when everything is going well, but trusting when nothing makes sense, that is true faith that reaches God's heart. You might be praying for a job opportunity that still has not opened. You might be waiting for a breakthrough in healing, in a relationship, or for a dream that has lived in your heart for many years. Or maybe you are battling fear, anxiety, or wounds you carry inside, and all you seem to receive in return is silence. But God is much closer than you think. He is working in the invisible parts of your story, preparing the setting, moving hearts, and opening paths that you are not yet able to see. Think about a seed when it is planted. It makes no sound. It stays hidden under the soil, in silence. But inside, something is happening. Roots are forming. Growth is beginning. You may not see it, but the process has already started. And the same thing is happening within you. God's silence is like the seed season. It is when He strengthens you from within, removes what holds you back, and places what will sustain you ahead. That is how He prepares you. Many people we admire today have walked through silence before their breakthrough. One example is Nick Vujicic. Born without arms and legs, he went through deep emotional struggles and even tried to take his life at the age of 10. He prayed for healing, begged God to take away his pain, and heaven stayed silent. But God was shaping something far greater. Today, Nick is one of the most inspiring motivational speakers in the world, bringing hope to millions. The miracle was not his body changing. The miracle was his heart being transformed without the physical healing. God does not answer the way we want. He answers the way we truly need. Sometimes He does not change the situation. He changes us first. He wants to grow your character, build your faith, and teach you to walk by faith and not by sight. So here's something you can try. For the next 7 days, take 5 minutes before bed and talk to God without asking for anything. Just thank Him. Even if you do not understand everything, be grateful. Thank Him for your life, for what you have, and for the chance to start again. This practice will train your heart to hear in the silence and rest even without answers. And when you least expect it, God will speak, and it will be so clear, so strong, and so full of love that you will finally understand why the silence had to come first. So breathe. Do not panic just because God has not responded yet. He is not far away. He is preparing you for something that requires maturity, trust, and deeper faith. Because what He is getting ready to give you is not just anything. It is something big, something worth waiting for. And when it comes, you will look back and thank Him for not letting you give up in the quiet. Sometimes pain feels so heavy that we start to believe it serves no purpose, that it only hurts, hinders, and stops us from moving forward. Because of that, many people begin to slowly give up in silence. They live on autopilot, pretending to be okay, but deep inside, they are fading a little more each day. The pain you carry today might feel like a burden too big to ever turn into something good. But what if that pain is the very tool God is using to shape something new inside of you? In the book of Romans, chapter 8, it says that all things work together for the good of those who love God, not just some, but all, even the painful ones. Even those memories we wish we could erase, even the ones we've never dared to share with anyone. God sees them all and specializes in turning tears into testimonies. When we offer Him not just our victories, but also our scars, He begins crafting something with a purpose greater than we could ever imagine. Think about the things you've been facing lately. Maybe you lost someone you loved deeply. Maybe a relationship ended without warning. Maybe you're struggling financially, or perhaps you're going through an emotional battle no one else knows about. You try to stay strong, but inside, you feel like you might fall apart at any moment. Your heart aches, you want to disappear, and you find yourself asking, will I ever get through this? But what you might not realize yet is that in the middle of your pain, a new version of you is being born, stronger, more empathetic, more thoughtful. A version of you that prays more sincerely, feels more deeply, and lives more intentionally. Pain, when placed in the right hands, becomes purpose. This isn't just a feel-good theory, it's real. Take actress Viola Davis, for example. She grew up in extreme poverty. Her childhood was marked by domestic violence, racism, and hunger. She has openly shared how she often went to bed hungry and felt ashamed of the smell of her clothes and the condition of her home. But instead of giving in to bitterness, she rose up with faith and perseverance. Today, she's one of the most respected actresses in history. When people ask what made her so strong, she says, "It was pain that taught me how to fight." That's it. Pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of a mission. Have you noticed that the kindest, most compassionate people are often the ones who've suffered the most? That's because pain teaches things comfort never will. Pain brings us closer to God in ways that joy simply cannot. It's in those moments when you hit your lowest point that you realize your life is not being sustained by your strength, it's by His grace. And that realization changes everything. Maybe you're thinking, "I don't see anything good in what I'm going through." And that's understandable. When you're in the storm, it's hard to see past the dark clouds, but you don't need to see, you just need to believe. Because what God is doing now, quietly, in secret, will make sense later. It will become shelter for someone who will walk through the same valley you're in right now. And if you're willing, I want to challenge you with something. For the next 7 days, every day, write down one pain you've experienced and one lesson you've learned from it. Even if the lesson seems small, if it helped shape you into a better person, it matters. At the end of the week, read everything you wrote. You'll see that God didn't waste a single tear. Every mark left a message. That pain didn't destroy you, it shaped you. Don't run from your pain. Don't hide it or ignore it. Bring it to God. Place it in His hands. Because when He takes what broke you, He can turn it into something that heals others. That's what gives the battle meaning. That's what gives tears value. That's what turns despair into destiny. One day, you'll look back on this moment with tears in your eyes, but tears of gratitude, and you'll say, "I didn't understand it then. But now I see God was preparing me." Because yes, you were wounded, but you were also chosen. Because yes, you bled, but you're also going to bloom. Because the pain that brought you to your knees today is the same pain that's shaping you to soar tomorrow into something greater than you imagined. The world will still hear about someone who overcame, someone who didn't quit, someone who was healed from within and started healing others too. That someone is you. You, listening right now, maybe with a heart shattered in pieces. Maybe you've been holding back tears for several days, trying to appear strong for everyone, but inside, screaming for help. Maybe no one knows the weight you've been carrying each day. Maybe they have no idea how much it hurts just to get up and keep going. But I want you to hear this as if God Himself is speaking straight to your heart. I am still here. I have never left you. Maybe you were rejected by people, forgotten by many, ignored by those who swore to love you. But you were never forgotten by God. Even when everything went dark, even when you stopped praying, even when you walked away, He stayed, He waited, and He's still there, right beside you. He's holding you even if you can't feel it, because true love doesn't give up. True love remains. Maybe you think you've failed too much, that it's too late, that too much time has been lost. But God doesn't work with lost time. He works with redemption. He turns remains into beginnings. He takes ashes and brings forth something new. You haven't seen what He's about to do. You haven't even seen what He already started inside you. You are not a mistake. You are not a burden. You are purpose. You are a chosen one. You are a plan being built by the hands of the Creator of the universe. And even if today you are on the ground, bleeding inside, without strength to cry for help, hear this truth with your whole soul. This is not the end. There is still life. There is still a promise. There is still a new beginning. You just have to take one more step. Just one more, even through tears, even without understanding, just one more. And when you look back, you will be moved to tears for not giving up. You will hug yourself and say, it was worth it to keep going, because God will show you that all of this was not to destroy you, but to push you toward purpose. And if the tears are falling now, let them fall, because sometimes crying isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the Spirit of God cleansing your soul and starting everything again.